1969. The average cost of a new house, $15,550. A new car, $3,270. Gas was 35 cents a gallon. There were Vietnam War protests as the U.S. enlisted a lottery-based draft. It was the year a man first walked on the moon. Another significant event was taking shape in 1969. It began when John and Ida Mae Freeman visited the 8 Mile Rock Church in Freeport, Grand Bahama while on vacation. They found a church half-built, unoccupied. John saw a situation that, with a little imagination, could be corrected. With the 8 Mile Rock pastor and members, he organized what we might call a church bee. Except instead of local church members coming to help finish the church, he would enlist church members from the United States. And they came, all volunteers, on the very first Maranatha project.
When we went down there on our first project in 8 Mile Rock, after Maranatha started, we took 26 young people with us. And when we started out, we worked on this project. They picked us up, took us out all day. They brought us lunch at noon. Then after about second or third day, the local pastor came to us and he said, "You know, I have a confession to make to you." I said, "What's that?" He says, "When you folk wrote down here and said you were coming down to finish this job, we had to put you up, we had to feed you and so forth. We just figured a bunch of you Americans coming down here to live off of us for a Christmas vacation." And he says, "When we see how hard you are working and none of our people are out there helping you," he says, "I have a confession to make." And we finished that church in 2 weeks' time.
This was the birth of Maranatha Flights International, a growing group of mission-minded Seventh-day Adventists taking the concept of a barn raising and applying it to churches. John, an Adventist, liked the word Maranatha, an Aramaic word that means Jesus is coming. Flights made sense because early on, the projects required people to fly by private aircraft to the location. And international was appropriate because the mission was most often outside the U.S. Projects multiplied, and the Freemans enlisted experienced contractors and inexperienced church members to bring their passion for service directly to the mission field. As the ministry grew, key people joined the mission, people who would make a lasting impact on the direction of Maranatha.
Dad had some gifts to begin with. He had imagination. He's always been really creative and ideas, but he needed other people to help carry him out. How it played out, I think, was just like, wow, somebody had a hand in this other than just us. Other people started coming in, and it just kind of grew, and I think Dad became very grateful for that.
People like Don Kirkman. For years, architect and board member Don Kirkman had been designing and building churches in Mexico with his business partner, David Hensel. Then, in 1972, they learned about a Maranatha project in the Northwest Territories of Canada. Don decided to go to Yellowknife, and he also brought a contractor and friend, Van Vandenheuvel, along for the ride. Van was a contractor and owned a successful plumbing business in Arizona. Typically, he would have been too busy to go, but he had been recovering from a broken leg and was restless. Van decided to join Don and a large group of volunteers bound for the project known as Yellowknife. Maranatha was in its infancy, but word spread across North America, and 140 volunteers in 23 private airplanes demonstrated that lay people could find a place in the church's mission.
Well, I think Yellowknife played a very important part in Maranatha because I think it more or less sent a signal to the world church that it was good for the church, good for the people.
Leon Slickers, another businessman and friend of John Freeman, began taking his family to the mission field.
My earliest memories of Maranatha being talked about was when my father communicated that we were going to be flying in his airplane to Yellowknife, Northwest Territories.
Tom Slickers recalled the wonder of seeing a church go up so quickly.
Even as a kid, it was pretty amazing to me to see the scale of the building, the size of what was being undertaken, to be able to watch that kind of come up and then have church in it, 2 Saturdays into the deal. That was pretty incredible.
Leon Slickers joined the board of Maranatha, helping shape the organization and structure. Don Kirkman began volunteering his architect skills to design Maranatha structures. For Van Vandenheuvel, Yellowknife ignited a life transformation. He couldn't wait to do it again, and convinced his wife Fay to join him at a project not too far from home, at the Holbrook Indian School in Arizona. And it changed their life.
It was amazing to me that people had come from all across the country to Holbrook to help. And that went over quite well. But then, before I knew it, he had signed up to go to Honduras.
Van sold his business and eventually his home. Van and Fay began volunteering for Maranatha full-time. They went on to be instrumental in developing Maranatha's mission and vision for the next several decades.
And we didn't have the slightest idea what we were doing, but with God showing us the way, we went ahead and were successful, not because of something we have done, but because what He's doing through us.
Ida Mae Freeman saw the hand of God in this grassroots ministry.
I knew this was something that we couldn't do ourselves. I knew that it was something that God had put into John's mind to do, and that's why I felt that I should encourage him in everything he'd do, because other than that, it wasn't going to succeed. But he was with us. I knew he was with us, and I knew it was something that the Lord wanted us to do, and not for any glory of our own, but for encouraging our family, our children, and we really started the whole thing for young people. It was because our girls were at that age, and it was something that they were excited about. It was fun to see them get excited about helping other people.
I'd say, Lord, help us to finish the work that needs to be done. Every job is a miracle. There is no way that we can build these churches without your helping us. And so we need all the help we can get. We know we have to finish the work. You've asked us to go out and spread the gospel. There's nothing that I can do. It's your program, Lord. It's not what I'm doing.
This attitude of faith continues to drive the mission of Maranatha today. Since that first vision, Maranatha has built churches, schools, clinics, homes, and water wells in nearly 90 countries. The decision to go is always predicated on need and faith, and since the inception of Maranatha, the hand of God has touched people to support this vital mission.
Well, really, I think the thing that Maranatha has done for more than any people, in spite of all these people that would continually tell me this is the most foolish thing we've ever heard of, I said, you do not know what this does to the people who go on these projects. And I said, it changes their lives. And we've found this to be true over and over and over again. When these people come back from these projects, they are so enthused over it, they help out more in church than they ever did before. It changes lives of people, and that's what this is all about. The Lord's about to come. We need to all change our lives. We need an outpouring of the Holy Spirit. And that's what Maranatha is doing with these people today going on these projects.